How's everybody going today? Welcome to the EDF podcast. Once again, we are back to talk NBA basketball. We got Liam, we got Lamar, the guys from EDF Sports. We're short one today, but that's okay. How you guys doing today?
What's going
I'm
on?
pretty good.
Doing good.
So I see the jersey, Liam. We got Mr. Giannis. Okay. See, I wasn't even going to try that last name. I know you were waiting for it, but I ain't doing it. But tell us a little bit about that one.
Just like on the last pod, how I thanked the Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos for helping the Eagles secure Devontae Smith, I want to thank Giannis specifically for two back-to-back efforts against the Bucks and dropping, 49 points and then 36 points and two huge wins over the Brooklyn Nets to help my Sixers secure the 1 seed in the East. And while those Nets and Bucks can beat up on each other in the second round, I will be enjoying a nice 5-game series with the New York Knicks. Thank
you. With the Knicks. Hey, I don't know if you want that, though, really. I mean, I'm not saying that they could win it, but that's going to be a fight right there.
Oh, no, I want it. I want every second of it. I want all of it.
I want
that series in the Garden. I want Julius Randle to not even be able to think about dribbling to the right because he only dribbles to the left. And same thing with R.J. Barrett. I want Matisse Thybulle and I want Ben Simmons to lock them down and wish they had never beaten the Hawks in the first round.
And these are those two guys that you claimed the other day. What was the best
backcourt since Scotty and Mike?
Oh,
best defensive tandem since Scotty and Mike.
Lamar.
I got nothing to say on that one.
All right. Oh, man. Scotty and Mike.
Because it's correct.
Oh, all right. So first off, though, we will get to these top dogs for sure. But what I want to start off with is because coming up here real quick is going to come into I believe they call it the play-in tournament, which I don't understand why they call it a tournament. But anyway, the play-in games that are coming in for the NBA. Which they're holding once again this year. When they started in the bubble, and I understood it last year, but I really don't understand why they stayed with it this year. I've been against it ever since it started, but I hate to say it, but I'm starting to come around. As it's getting closer, I'm getting a little more excited, seeing all the things that go down here. But tell me a little bit, Liam, about what you think of these playing games.
Well, I guess I can not like the idea of the play-in game while also still being able to be excited about the potential matchups that I get to see for a one and done thing to end the season. And I said a couple weeks ago that a couple years ago when it was Nuggets and Timberwolves on the last day of the season for the right to be in the playoffs. That was cool because it was actually within the schedule. What I don't like is that you create a play-in tournament round robin, whatever the real apropos term is, it's like an extra game. I know there's 7, it's like a game 83, game 73 this year. I don't like that. I would have liked if these two teams that are going to be in this play-in are facing each other on the real last day of the season for the right to go to the playoffs. That's cool. But that doesn't mean that I can't be excited. What if the Lakers keep slipping? They have the Clippers tonight. They got the Blazers tomorrow. Without LeBron, they could very well lose both. Dallas, you don't know how this game's going with Brooklyn right now. I got it on my TV screen. They're down by 2 points. What if they end up winning the game? It's very congested right there. Could you just imagine LeBron James versus Steph Curry in a play-in game for the playoffs? Not saying that the Lakers wouldn't just wipe the floor with the Warriors, but that is gold. That is a gold mine NBA. That's like a commodity game. Everyone's going to tune in for that. So, it has its pros and cons. I don't like it necessarily, but that doesn't mean I can't be excited for it.
Right. Lamar, what do you think about these games?
I don't like it, but we all gonna watch it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be
100%.
Like anything one and done. It's win or go home. I mean, everybody gonna be intrigued to watch it. Like Liam said, if the Lakers are in, everybody the ratings is gonna be through the roof.
That's just it right there too. Is you see the Lakers who are sitting at number 6 with then they're 10.5. Well, a half a game out of 7.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, they're playing the Clippers tonight, which I haven't seen anybody who's given them a chance to beat the Clippers tonight. But for me, it's always a toss up when you got those two going at it. So I won't give it straight like that. But when you look at it, they got the Clips, they got the Blazers, then the Suns, the Knicks, and then they can relax maybe a little bit with the Rockets and the Pacers and the Pelicans. But and the Pacers are kind of wild right now because they got their own
Pacers.
thing going on.
Yeah, Pacers are reeling.
They got some issues, man.
Yeah, they went. What didn't they even just suspend an assistant? I believe.
Yeah, for bumping at Goga Batadze yesterday on the court. It got pretty heated.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I guess they kind of went at each other and everything. But I mean, they're still battling themselves though, trying to get in. So that's a game that, I mean, if it comes down to it, it's the second to the last game for the Lakers. And if they're both trying to get in, I mean, that's going to be another battle game. Literally, the Lakers have the hardest path to me to get in. The Blazers and the Mavericks both have easier last 6 games to play. The Mavericks by far the easiest. They got the Cavs 2 times in a row coming up after Brooklyn. So they go back-to-back Cavs. Then they got Grizzlies, Pelicans, Raptors, and Timber Pups. So, I mean, the Mavericks seem to have the better shot at the road, which leads me to believe that the Lakers are going to at least fall and be in that 7th spot. So in saying that, let's say that they are, and they take on the Grizzlies. How do you see that going down, Lamar?
So Lakers take on the Grizzlies.
Yeah, in that 7-8.
I gotta go with the Lakers, especially for LeBron and everybody back playing.
Okay, but I need you to tell me why. I mean, I don't. Even if he comes back right then, I mean, I guess it is the Grizzlies, but I guess like he said, the 9 and 10 would be Warriors Spurs. We could assume the Warriors would take that one, right? So then that would leave them, if the Lakers got by the Grizzlies. Now you do have that one game, Lakers Warriors right there.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So
for the 8 seed of all things, and you know what? If I'm Utah or if I'm Phoenix, I am like praying my life away that the Warriors win that game. Could you imagine being the 1 seed and then getting LeBron and AD as
the defending champions?
The 8th seed. Like, that's just not fair. Utah would get wiped in the first round. It would be such a fraud story when I don't even know if you could actually like call them frauds for it. It would be so fitting. It would be perfect.
But wouldn't it be great almost to see the Jazz and the Lakers in that first one? I mean, you know, because
I want to see that later in the playoffs. I don't want to see that.
Well, for me, see, I get rid of either one of them right away in that first round would just be like golden. So, you know, that to me would be like a great matchup. On the East side, you have the Heat in the 7th, but they're tied with the Celtics, who are in this, who got the same record. They're both 10 back. The Hornets are only 2.5 back. Then you got those crazy Pacers, and then the Wizards, who stepped in and have been, I ain't going to say they have been, who Russell Westbrook has led them into this playoff march that they're on right now. And I'm not gonna discredit Bill. You know, I love that man. So, but the Wizards are making their moves, and they're right inside of that. But that's far from being set either. The Celtics could easily fall back inside of there because the Celtics and the Heat both play each other twice still in the last 6 games. So you got that battle going on right there. Where do you see the East coming down, Liam, for that playing games?
So I do think that those matchups with Boston and Miami are key. And you know, I don't get to watch as many Miami games as I'd like to. You know, I watch when I can, but you know, when I'm doing my, you know, normal, you know, scope of the league and checking and stuff, it's like it never makes sense to me like how they play Jimmy Butler, because like he's not hurt, but like he plays so intermittently and so spaced out. I feel like I'm looking at stats one day he had a great game, I'm looking at stats another day he had like an average game, and then I'm looking at stats the next day and he's not playing. It doesn't make sense. So Is he going to be there for those 2 Boston games? Because those games will tell you all you need to know. The Wizards are real, and Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal have engineered like this crazy comeback from the depths of the dust of the Eastern Conference, and they're playing awesome defense. And I'll tell you what, I do not want to see, like, my Sixers, I don't want to see Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook in the first round. Like, would we beat them with the sorry team that they have around them? Yes, we would, but I don't want to see those 2 players, especially Russ's intensity, in a first round matchup. Like that's like, that's too much. I want to see the Hornets. So please, Hornets, find your way into making that 8 seed. I would love to show LaMelo Ball up in his first playoff series and Coach Borrego up in his first playoff series.
I don't see them falling past the 8th spot, the Hornets. I think they're pretty much, I would say they're locked in at 8. So they'll be playing that 7-8 game for sure.
Well, they're playing that 7-8 game against the Heat or the Celtics, and they're going to lose. So then they're going to be playing the Wizards for that 8 seed.
I mean,
and I hope they win that game.
Lamar, where do you see the East coming to with these playing games?
Lamar's frozen on my screen.
Lamar's frozen. See, I don't have that much faith in the Celtics. They are such a Dr. Jekyll kind of team to me. Like, one minute they can play and they look like they can make it all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then the next minute, they look like a team that doesn't even want to play. I don't remember what game it was I was watching the other day, and I even tweeted out, though. It's like they were so disinterested in the game. And I'm like, aren't they in the middle of a playoff? Aren't we coming towards the end? And they look like they was just. So to me, I'm not convinced at them. So the Hornets, sometimes, I don't know. When you get those one game, Lamar, how do you see the East, man?
I'm pulling for the Wizards to get in. I like the way Westbrook and Bill playing, especially Westbrook. Feel like he don't get the respect he deserves sometimes because everybody think he ran KD out of town. But I like the way he playing, man. He rebounding the basketball, assisting the basketball, ultra aggressive. They'd be a dangerous team to face in the playoffs.
You want my Sixers to have a rough first round, Lamar.
Speaking of that, though, Lamar, do you guys believe that Russell Westbrook is one of the only players who gets judged by everything else, it seems like, when we start talking about great players, except for his stats, because his stats speak for themselves? But yet every time you want to bring him up in a conversation, it becomes like that. Oh, the KD situation, or this situation, or that. He gets judged by everything but his play. If we put him in his play, the man is one of the best to ever play the game.
Game in and game out, nobody from the point guard position, like really only Wilt Chamberlain in history can put up the individual numbers that he could put up on any given day. Like, there's no point guard in NBA history that can go get you 20 boards and can go get you 25 assists. It just has never happened. And the thing with Russell Westbrook, like, has he been underappreciated? I think so, because when you talk about greatness, it always comes down to how you perform in the playoffs and like how you win and your ring count. And like, while you still talk about James Harden's greatness or Damian Lillard's greatness or Giannis's greatness,
thank you.
At this point, for not having rings, the only difference is that I can think of, and like, this is my personal opinion, is that Russell Westbrook's style isn't inducive of winning. Russell Westbrook's lore, Russell Westbrook's aura has to come in his numbers, because what would he be without these numbers? His style doesn't contribute to a winning brand of basketball unless a team was incredibly perfectly fit around him.
Okay.
No GM has ever done.
I guess, I've heard that and I get where you're coming from, but to me, when a man has 20 assists and 20 rebounds, you're playing nothing but team ball. You are the epitome of a team player if you get 20 assists and 20 rebounds. Like, you've done, I don't care then if you get 10 points. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you've done way more than than your part for a team if you got 20 assists and 20 boards. So like trying to say like I mean, I get what you're saying because I've heard it a lot, and I know, and I kind of get what they mean because once the playoffs get going, sometimes he gets going and he doesn't stop, and
Yeah.
that has what's been his thing. But again, 20 assists, you're spreading the love.
Well, let's let's compare it like straight up, because like yes, like I didn't say he wasn't a team player. I think you can be a team player and still
Yeah.
not play a winning brand of basketball. I think
Right.
DeMar DeRozan does the same thing. See, he gets traded to San Antonio. Kawhi comes in, they win a championship. How about we talk about then Chris Paul, who right now, like, can he put up 20 rebounds and 20 assists? No, he can get near 25 assists, like 20 assists, like maybe 3 times in his career. But Chris Paul can literally go 8 points with 8 rebounds and 12 assists, and his brand of basketball is so much more inducive to winning than Russell Westbrook's, which is like that, like, which is why I hate the term or the title MVP, because like the word valuable I feel like has never been given a clear definition. Everyone always talks about PER leaders, stat leaders, whatever you want. You look at Chris Paul, and he is like, you can see what he's doing to win basketball games. That's value. That is value.
Mhm.
So like that's my comparison. Like Russ can put up better numbers than Chris Paul game in and game out just because of his motor, his athleticism, and how he plays. But Chris Paul is going to win, and they can do the same, and like basically doing the same stuff even at a lesser rate.
Where do you see him at, Lamar? Russell.
Yeah, I think the only thing I see in Russell Westbrook games sometimes that's troubling, like in the playoffs, is like when he's not making his shots and he continue to keep on shooting instead of just dribbling, like he been doing in the past few weeks. I just think if he got improve his shot selection and keep doing what he's doing, man, because the guy play hard, man, every game. You go and watch Russell Westbrook play, you're gonna see 100% effort.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Like I
Yeah.
appreciate watching that so much.
yeah.
Guess who else does that? Who else has that motor, that endurance? Like it's crazy. He's a different type of athlete, and I appreciate how hard he plays the game. I really do.
Right. Like I said, I've never been a huge Russell fan, but I am a huge fan of his play and his game and his skills. I don't care what anybody says. I grew up knowing Oscar to be the epitome of the best because of what he did. And
Yeah.
no one can ever do that again. And yet here we have a man who's about to pass him, but yet we do not say the same things about him. And that's the only thing that gets me. It seems like there's a double standard that goes there. But so if we say then that they move in, let's say they get that spot since they got the where are they at? They're at the 10, right? And they're 3 games above the Raptors with 6 to go. I would say that they're going to go ahead and grab that spot, right? So say they get it and they got the dysfunctional Pacers. Well, there you go. There's their perfect 1-game win right there, right? So our who do we have as our final coming out of the East to make that 8th spot, the 7th and the 8th spot? Who do you got, Liam?
I'm gonna go with Hornets and Wizards, and to be honest, I really like. I'm kind of enjoying that game. Like, I mean, like I think the Wizards will probably win just because I think Russ wills them there. But I mean, like, you never know. Yeah, I mean, like Russell Westbrook from that Utah Jazz series could come out, and the Wizards could poof right into the NBA sunset.
Yep. Lamar, who do you see going into the 8th, 7th, and the 8th for the East?
East, I'm going with Heat and Wizards.
The Heat and the Wizards. All right. I think I will. I'm gonna go with the Hornets at 8 and the Wizards at. I mean the Wizards at 9 and the Heat. Yeah, so Heat and Wizards the same. For the West, since that big old mess right there, and with the Lakers doing what they're doing, who you got, Liam, for the 7th and 8th spot in the West to go on?
I guess I'm gonna go with for the 7. I feel like Memphis is. I think that Portland. I think that Portland will end up in the play-in. I think that the Lakers will solidify the 6th seed. So, and
Really?
I think Memphis has Portland's number. I know Portland
Really?
is finally getting fans back, which excites Damian Lillard and excites me because we deserve to have fans. But I think Memphis has Portland's number. They'll capture that 7 seed, and I think the Blazers will probably. Like Steph versus Dame for the right to the 8th seed. That's another awesome game. But I'll go with the Blazers just because of the team's strength. I think is just better than the Warriors.
Wow. All right. So Grizzles and Warriors.
Grizzlies, Blazers.
Grizzles, Blazers. Grizzlies, Blazers. Who you got in the West, Lamar?
I'm going Grizzlies, Blazers also.
Really? Okay. I think the Lakers are going to fall to that 7th spot and have to play, but I think they come out of that 7th spot and move on for 7. And the Grizzlies will play the Warriors, and I think the Warriors will take it. So I got the Lakers and the Warriors for the 7 and 8. I guess.
Listen, no matter who the Grizzlies play, let's be honest. No team in the bubble last year got screwed more than the Grizzlies going into the bubble as the 8th seed and then losing it. Losing the right to the playoffs because of that 8-game play-in or whatever, where Damian Lillard won the bubble MVP and the Suns won 8-0, and no team got screwed more than the Grizzlies. Ja Morant is fearless. He is not afraid of anybody, and I would love to see him go up against LeBron. Not that I think they'd win, not that I think that it'd even be close. I just want to see Ja Morant internally take on the challenge of LeBron James in a playoff game because I think that he would invite that, and I love watching him play. I love that kid.
I think he can play. I think he is one of the best drivers to the lane that we have already in the league, but he really needs to work on that outside shot. Until he gets that down, once he hits the playoffs, they're just going to play him to drive every time. But I do love his game, and I think he's becoming, like I said, one of the best guys going to the hole that we have. Lamar, what do you think about him?
But I love his game. I can't think in a couple more years he's gonna be really going to take his game to the next level.
That's
really exciting. Really
he
exciting player.
Shot, man. Yeah, he gets that shot and it'll be over because if you have to come out and respect that shot, he's going by you every time. Like he's one of those guys that is almost impossible to stop when he's going to the hole.
Box office. He's awesome.
Yep. And they better never let him go either. He's one of those guys. You better keep signing him. Don't let him walk away. Right. Let's get to the top though, real quick of each conference. Tell me about the Suns and the Jazz. I even heard Barkley a while ago before this game started talking about nobody's afraid of the Jazz. Nobody's afraid of the Suns. Nobody's afraid of the Nuggets. Is that true? Are there a bunch of paper people at the top right now?
If I'm the Lakers and the Clippers, am I afraid of them? No, but am I respecting them? Absolutely. What seemed to happen last year, and I'll never fault LeBron for this. LeBron to me has never really underestimated an opponent. Say now, the worst thing that I can think of LeBron doing was that what was it? The 2010 playoff series against the Celtics where Gilbert accused him of quitting on the team. Did he quit on the team? He might have. But that's not taking his opponent lightly. That was just the Celtics beating the Cavs. But the Clippers last year absolutely, when they went up 3-1, took Denver lightly. And you saw it in game 5 when they were up 19 points and they let it go. And Paul George was completely nonchalant after the game, and it was just like, we'll get him in game 6. That to me was their mentality after they went up 3-1. It's just like, you know what, we'll get one of these 3. It doesn't matter which one until you lose all 3. So especially if I'm the Clippers, I'm respecting all of these opponents Does that mean that I fear them? No. If I'm Kawhi Leonard, I have no reason to fear any of these guys because they're not champions. I'm the champion here if I'm Kawhi Leonard. It's time for me to like get my stuff straight. Rondo, also a champion on the Clippers. Serge Ibaka, also a champion on the Clippers. It's time for us to get it right. And I'm not worried about Utah. I'm not worried about Phoenix, but I respect them. Of course I do.
You see, you hit on the one point that I will give as a positive, and that is the Clippers, and that's hard for me, but they are the one team that I think has made the appropriate moves by bringing in Cousins, first of all, who is a Joker kryptonite. Um, Last year, that hurt them really bad in that 7-game series. Was Joker taking over? They didn't really have anybody who could handle him. Um, of course, Murray went nuts, did his thing too. But I mean, they needed that, and there's not a whole lot of big men that can handle Joker like Boogie can. Also with Rondo, adding him, adding the thing. I mean, I think they've made the appropriate steps. The Suns, to me, are that team who is great. They're up and coming, but you can't just jump into a playoffs first time ever after being where you was and then take that to the title game. I mean, maybe in this weird season like this, that's a possibility, but I just don't see the Suns being the factor of going. In fact, I have them maybe getting out of the first, depending on who slips to that 8th spot, if they stay in that one. But I don't see them getting out of the second round. I don't see the Nuggets getting anywhere because I think once they get to the playoffs that they lock Joker down and then they're going to make the other team. Can the Nuggets win a couple games? Can they look good doing it like they did last night against the Knicks? Yeah, if they all are hitting and they do that. But the problem is they don't have a bunch of stars. That's why it won't happen. Do you get what I mean? Like they're a good team, but they don't have – those guys aren't championship guys on their own. So I don't see them getting far if Joker gets wrapped up and gets locked down. I don't see them even getting far. Who was the other one? The Jazz. I guess I could see the Jazz. To me, the Jazz don't have the man. They don't have the man. All right. They have couple of great players, some really good extra players. I love Conley. He's one of my favorite players in the NBA, actually. But they don't have the man. They don't have like a LeBron, that guy who will take that team, make them do what they're going to do, and lead them to a championship. So that's my problem with the top of the West right there. Lamar?
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. Nobody should be scared of them but the Suns or the Jazz, but you got to respect them because if you don't respect them, you mess around and find yourself in a dogfight. Yeah.
The Jazz, if they're playing like their brand of basketball, like if they're able to like conduct their offense how they have been all year in the playoffs because people are just taking it lightly just because they're the Utah Jazz, then they're gonna find themselves in the NBA Finals. Like that's how good they are, and that's how good they can be for long stretches. If people are going in treating them like anytime Utah Jazz because they're the Utah Jazz, then they're going to be in the finals, and that's going to be everyone's fault for not seeing or not seeing it respectfully.
Do you not see any kind of repercussions from last year's debacle at all? Like, do you think that's just out the window? They're going to forget about that? Like, I mean, I'm just saying if they get into a series and let's say they go up even 2-0 in the first round, does that start creeping in? Do they play harder in game 3 because they don't want that to happen again? That mentality. Or if they get down, will all that? Does last year creep in for them? That's my question for them at this point. Does that creep in for them? I don't think it creeps in for the Clippers because they made some moves and they got I hate to say it because I don't know any of these guys, like in a personal way, but I feel like they got stronger personalities, the Clippers do. So I don't know if that 3-1 loss means that much to Kawhi as it does to maybe Gobert, So does that affect them at all, last year's loss?
I'm going to go with no, just because I feel like sometimes you can tell the pulse of a team, and this team just seems a little more headstrong, a little more put together, um, a little more tightened up at the bolts than last year's team. And you also have to remember last year, because obviously the NBA would have ended up shutting down anyway if it didn't like how it happened didn't matter. It would have ended up happening anyway. But Gobert doing that dumb touching of the microphone thing is what set the whole NBA coronavirus thing in motion. And you have to remember he gave it to Donovan Mitchell, and there was reports that they had excessive beef. They didn't talk for a couple months while the NBA was on hiatus. That's all past them. They've both said they've returned their strong friendship and kinship. And you know what? There needs to be something said for coaches who don't get the respect that they deserve either. And maybe it is a product, again, of just being the same old Utah Jazz. But Quinn Snyder's no average coach who's just going to let last year's debacle affect them. He's going to have them ready to go, and he's going to make sure that they're winning the series that they should be winning. And Quinn Snyder's a damn good coach.
Do you agree, Lamar?
Yeah, Snyder's a good coach.
Is it going to affect them at all, though, that loss of last year?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, like I said, they got a headstrong team. They came back. They came out firing this year. I think they prepared to try to make it deep into the playoffs.
And they've been steady too.
This is probably their best chance to do it realistically too.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and they've been steady though. They haven't ever did the Valley thing. They've been pretty good. They stayed steady. They rolled all the way.
The problem the past 3 years. 3 years ago and 2 years ago, they had terrible starts and incredible ends. And last year, they had an incredible start and a mediocre end. This year, they've been lights out good the whole way through. And there's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
So, Lamar, where do you see the East? Who do you see coming out of the East? Are any of them contending title man right now?
I like Philadelphia in the East because the way Embiid plays like them. The Nets gonna be a factor too, just because Harden's supposed to be back and they talented and score the basketball, so they're gonna be in the mix. The Bucks, I mean, they playing well right now. It looks like they tuned up for the playoffs, but you gotta see it in the playoffs before you.
And let's assume everybody's healthy too. Let's assume everybody stays healthy. So Giannis is healthy. Harden's back. Irving, KD, you got everybody on the Sixers, and B doesn't go down no more. He stays in for the rest of the time. You got all of those factors in like that. Can the Nets just turn it on? Because I like the way the Sixers have gone. I don't think, if you look at their thing, what was it, since 2002? Is it 2002, something like that? They've been to the second round 4 times since then, and they lost each of those. And in last year with the first round exit, I believe. So what makes them better now than they've been to get them past that point, Liam?
Doc Rivers. And Doc Rivers, is a coach who has blown 3 3-1 leads in the playoffs. So that part has never sat well with me. But you can see the difference in the messaging to this group. And Brett Brown, I enjoyed Brett Brown. I thought he was a great guy. But it's clear after years and years of watching the same thing that the message either is running stale or something's not working. And, you bring Doc Rivers in, you bring a Daryl Morey in, who, for my money, he's the best GM in basketball. If you don't think he's the best and he's a top 3, I don't think that's arguable.
Yeah, I would say at least top 3.
Right. So you bring those in, you change the messaging to your star players. Joel Embiid's in the best shape he's been in his life. And yes, he's an injury risk, of course, but being in shape, he's able to play more minutes. Ben Simmons, while he's still not taking jump shots, is being put in more advantageous positions to take advantage of his skill sets than he ever has before. Tobias Harris, since coming over from the Clippers, where Doc Rivers was his coach and he was playing the best basketball of his career, he tailed off the year and a half that he was with us before Doc Rivers comes back and he's back to playing Clippers style Tobias Harris basketball. This team is different. They're listening different. They're prepared different, and that's what makes them better. Does that mean that we can't collapse? Does that mean that we're going to win a title? No. Both of those things, we don't have to win, and we could sure lose a 3-1 lead for Doc Rivers' fourth time. I'm not saying that, but they're better than last year's team, and it's an exponential difference because it's in the mind. It's a mindset difference, 1 through 15.
Can they do it, Lamar? Are the Sixers? Is Doc the answer for that?
Yeah, you can definitely see he definitely got Embiid playing the way he's supposed to have been playing. And that's when they first hired Doc Rivers. I said watch Embiid have a big year.
Yes.
Let me ask you something real quick, Lamar.
Yeah.
Tell me why the Bucks are not the favorite, and why the Bucks wouldn't be the favorite over the Sixers right now, considering the Bucks haven't done anything to lose anybody. They made the progress up the ladder, right? They've been on that doorstep knocking. They should have had beat the Heat, just were playing out of their mind in that bubble. So why are the Bucks not the favorite right now?
I think because of prior playoff disappointments. Budenholzer's coached the playoffs like this a regular season. Man, playoffs come, man, you got to tighten that bench up, shorten that bench. You can't be playing 10, 11 players. You got to play your best 8, 9 players. And your stars got to be prepared to play more minutes.
Do you hear that, Mike Malone out there? Nuggets coach? Yeah. You don't have to play everybody. Okay, go ahead.
I love basketballreference.com. I'm always on that site. If you look at through the years, all them great teams, man, all their stars are playing 38, 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
In the playoff. They wasn't playing no 35 like they was playing in the regular season. The minutes went up, sometimes 44 minutes.
Yeah. You have to.
Yeah, got to.
Liam, why won't the Bucks beat them? Why aren't the Bucks the favorites?
The Bucks aren't. I mean, like it is, because we've seen it before with Giannis, and like you build the wall and you force him to become a jump shooter. I don't know why they're not the favorites. I think they would be the favorites if this was still Brett Brown's Sixers, and if the Nets didn't compile 3 of the top 12 best players in the whole world. And the reason I think they would be the favorites is because while they don't have the record of the last 2-year Milwaukee Bucks teams, Drew Holiday has clearly made a difference in how they operate and how they defend and how they'll be able to go at teams stylistically come playoff time. It's a huge advantage to have a Drew Holiday over an Eric Bledsoe, even if the stats, the stats are good, but even if the stats aren't wildly different, say Rondo and Lou Williams, it's the same thing. It's invariably more to your team to have Rondo out there in the playoffs than it was Lou Williams. It's the same thing with Drew Holiday and Eric Bledsoe. So I do think the Bucks would be the favorites if the Sixers didn't take the steps that they did, and if the Nets didn't compile the assets that they have. They're going to be a very tough out. They're going to give Brooklyn a hell of a time in that second round series, and they could even win it. Who knows?
I believe as long as the Bucks have a point guard and they use that point guard the way they're supposed to, and don't let Giannis just take the ball and do his thing, then they got a very big chance. But I want to get to the Nets real quick because we kept bringing them up and stuff. Are they the favorite or no? Are they the third? Where do you put the Nets?
They're still my number one.
And why?
They're still my number one when healthy, and it's part of my undying need for take integrity because I don't like switching up my takes. I live and die by my takes. And while it is hard to bet against the Sixers, and it's getting easier and easier to see a path to Sixers glory, the more time that these Nets falter, the fact that the Sixers are going to get the 1 seed, the little time that they've spent together, I'm just not ready to bet against Harden, Kyrie, and KD in a playoff series if they're there. because when you line up the 4 best players in that series, they have 3 of the 4 best players, and it's this year they have this year Joel and KD are better. It's very hard. You could say that Harden is better than Joel. I would have to do a collective player ranking. I might even say that. So in that case, they have the 2 best players in the series because I'm taking KD over Joel any day.
Okay, I hear that, but does it matter if you have 3 of the best if they only play ISO ball during that time? I mean, if they come out there, if they are just coming out there though, there's 6 games left. There's still no Harden. Like, how many games have they played together? So can you just come out there, flip that switch, and the 3 of you now play a team game? Or once that ball gets thrown in the playoffs and you get down by, like, starting off getting down by 10 points or something, does KD just go off? Does Harden just start going off? Does Irving just start taking the ball going off? When does that become, in other words, can they just do that? Are those 3 that good that they can go out there and just become a team, hit that playoffs, make that run, Lamar?
Possible, man, because KD make the game look so easy. He missed like 3 weeks and come back and drop 40 like it's nothing. But yeah, towards the in the tight, I just want to see like late in these playoff games. What they gonna do? Who gonna get the ball? I know who should get the ball in crunch time in the playoffs should be KD. But
oh yeah, but is
if
that in Harden's head? Is that in Irving's head?
But yeah, does Harden and Kyrie know that though? But Kyrie's a clutch player too.
Yeah, and they both know they are. Yeah. They both know they can do it. So it's hard to give that up when you know you can do that.
If they can play unselfishly, they're gonna be dangerous.
That's true, but that's the whole big question for me.
Yep.
I just don't know if they can just do that now because they haven't yet, and there's 6 games to go.
You have to think that they, behind the scenes in the locker room at practice are devising ways for this to work, and it also can't be overstated because I think sometimes it gets lost in like Steve Nash being a first-year head coach. Are you really sure Steve Nash is coaching this team? Because you know what? I'll tell you who's coaching this team. And it was fairly obvious when James Harden was playing. Mike D'Antoni is coaching this team. He's the assistant coach. He was the mind to Steve Nash. He was the mind to James Harden. And now he's their assistant coach. He's coaching the team. It was evident when James Harden was on the court. And if Mike D'Antoni knows anything, it's how to create high-powered offense with very little to no defense. So when it comes down to it, if they can't defend, can they make the majority of their shots? And when those 3 are healthy and on, yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Well, I mean, that's definitely gonna be the big question, and you absolutely hit it on the head because their defense has been their question, even in the times all the way up till right now. That's been one of their issues is going to be their defense. But I don't know. I am not trustworthy of them, not enough to throw any kind of cash down on them. That's for sure. I would be better pressed to say that Philadelphia would do it. By the way, do we think anybody else but those 3 can come out of the East? I mean,
no chance.
Because I really don't. I think there's some good teams. I think it's going to be fun playoffs, but I don't see anybody but one of those 3 coming out of the East.
No shot.
The Celtics are 2. The Heat, they had their time. I don't think they can do that again that they did last year.
Unless you believe in playing with no pressure like the Hawks and Knicks will, but I can't believe in that. I can't believe in it.
Yeah, I think both of those teams are on their way. I mean, I believe that the Hawks are going to get a couple of more big-time free agents within the next year or 2, ones that will make a even greater impact on them than they have now. And I'll save that for other times, but I do believe the Hawks are going to get more people. They're going to get better. And I believe the Knicks are going to get better because they attract people being in New York, but they attract it when they're good. So now that they're becoming good, they're going to attract somebody to
Yeah.
go there and get.
And
So
also,
both of
there's
those.
going to be a little added allure of like going against this version of the Nets. That's kind of enticing.
Oh yeah. To be in the same city, the same, be right there to get. Yeah. I mean, I can see it. So both of those teams, I believe, will, but not this year. This is, this just ain't their
Yeah.
time. I don't see those three.
I'm
And as
glad
for
you
the West is
glad
open.
you guys are here for my Sixers. I can't believe I'm the one not picking my Sixers, but I'm glad you guys are.
Right. And the West to me is I don't even want to start with that yet. I want to wait till after the play-in games and let me see who's really in and who's matching up, because I'm just not convinced any which way right there. I think I believe the Clippers will be there in the end, and who else I don't know yet. So
Give me Clippers, Lakers. I need it. I want it very badly. I think we all do.
I think everybody out there does anyway. I know Lamar does, right?
I'm over it.
He don't want it. He
Fair.
don't care.
You're allowed to be. I'm not.
It was supposed to be in last year. I'm over it now.
He said, I'm over it.
It's supposed to be in last year.
They screwed it up.
Yep.
And, I mean, even if it would have been last year, then it would have been no fans. It wouldn't have been as fun. I mean, this time you're going to get some fans in the playoffs, so there's going to be a little bit of that yelling.
But you don't see people talking about it like they were last year. Everybody was talking all year. I can't wait till this happening.
Yeah.
But if everyone's healthy in the playoffs, it'll start getting some traction in the coming weeks for sure.
Yeah. Do you think LeBron's going to come back healthy? Do you think is he just doing this right now to, as he said, to make sure, and he's not worried about getting in?
I think LeBron realizes that if he is going to make it like a signed, sealed, delivered, I am the greatest basketball player of all time, I think he knows what he has to do this playoffs and next year's playoffs. I think he realizes what's at stake for him if he doesn't give it his all. So I expect to see playoff LeBron, even if he can't turn the corner like that much less than he could before he tweaked his ankle.
Yeah, I think he saw Lakers struggling. He tried to come back a week early. And end up tweaking it a little bit. Like, hey man, just if they in the playing game, so be it. You got to be healthy.
You're right. Why wouldn't you take the James Harden approach that the Nets are doing? Like James Harden could play today. I think everybody knows that. But it's the matter of keeping him out and making sure that hamstring is prime and ready to go.
Because
that should have been the goal the whole time. They did it with Anthony Davis. Why aren't you doing it with LeBron?
Yeah. I think it was like he said, I bet you he made that call. He's like, I'm ready. Put me in. And they don't tell him no, Nobody gonna tell him no. All right. Well, hey man, this has been great once again. Covering the NBA. I love it, man. I could talk NBA all day. We will be doing this again. We're going to I want to start getting into a little NBA 2K, guys. It's getting really popular. And
I got it. I play it every now and then.
Do you really?
Yeah.
What do you think of it, first of all?
I mean, it's a good game, but it's like every year it's almost like the same game with just different tweaks. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's part of that stuff we're going to get into one of these times. But yeah, so I'd like to get into that another time. But playoffs are coming up, playing games are coming up, so we'll get some people in here and we'll talk playoffs, and we'll keep this rolling all the way through this, and we'll see who's right. And I wrote your picks down, so ain't nobody changing on me later on. I got them right here, right here. Except for mine, for some reason I didn't see mine. So. What's that?
I said we're gonna have to get Jack's picks next week then.
That's right. Well, he ain't getting off the hook. Jack
gonna roll with the heat. He love the heat.
Jack in the heat.
I can't wait to rip them apart.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it again. This is brought to you by theeverydayfan.com. Please come and check us out. All the guys here, Liam, Lamar, they write great stuff. So please come check it out. Come check out the shop. And we will see you guys next week.